Okay, let's get to our next story. So, China, viruses. Is this something to worry about? So there's this.
I feel like I've been sort of like I've been seeing this in the news. I'm like, I don't want to talk about the coronavirus. They're going to talk about this for ages. I can't. Like I remember the Ebola thing from a few years back, and I was like, everyone got all up in a tizzy over it. I don't know.
Well, it's because it was an African disease, and you know how people are.
Well, let's see what's going on with this Chinese disease.
Yeah, I know. This is where I'm at with this. Let me just pre-emphasize it, just to go with what Paul's saying. Basically, I'm coming down on the side that the Western media is, again, being very racist in a very kind of general, systemic way on these things about freaking out about diseases that are not American, not Western, blah, 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 just like what they were with Ebola. However, I also think there's a little bit to this, and I'm going to get into why, and then we'll have, a back and forth on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in a nutshell, this virus is moving around. There's a case in Chicago. There's a couple of cases in France. There's a few cases here and there that have been popping up very, very, very recently. But by the way, I should go over the symptoms of this. Symptoms that have been publicly reported. It's like a bad cold with some people getting pneumonia or tuberculosis. So like the same, like, very elderly people, very young kids. Now an issue and so people are comparing it to like a flu, like a mild or bad flu, if it gets to that point. Now an issue that you might say right away is that we already have a lot of extensive experience, like our bodies do, fighting the flu. So there's already a pretty good built-in resistance, and this is a new one. And they were talking about how this disease is a animal to human transfer, which historically speaking are actually pretty dangerous. That's your smallpox, that's your cowpox, that's your measles, your mumps, your chickenpox, those kind of things. Things that
HIV even?
No, I don't think. Oh, right. Yeah, it's from. You're right. But so stuff because generally speaking, the virus thinks it's still in a pig or wherever this came from, so it'll act. So like a cow for like cowpox doesn't have any really negative effects for a cow, but if the virus thinks it's in a cow and a human, you get cowpox or So that's where we're at. So China, I feel like, is underreporting their sicknesses, and I'll go why in a second. So right here in this article, I know it's higher now since the article came out, that there have been 15 new deaths, and there's been like 800-ish people that have been injured. Now the reason that I don't think that is a accurate take and that the Chinese government is being as accurate as they should be on this topic is they're in the process of over 10 days building a brand new hospital with 1,000 beds to host the overflow of people that are currently observation and sick. On top of that, China has literally quarantined entire cities of millions of people. I believe 4 cities, it might be less than that, but it's about that many. So that would be like, I imagine like the flu comes out and like it's like a new flu and it's in like Chicago and New York and Los Angeles and like Houston, and they quarantine those 4 cities and they say, don't worry, only 15 people are dead, 800 injuries, no, it's no biggie. And they start doing radical progress to build a new hospital because they say they don't have any people. Yeah, I don't believe that. 1 + 1 should equal 2, and this is like 1 + 20 = 2. I don't believe it. I think that China, it's going to be a lot worse than China's making it out to me. There's no way the central government in China would ever risk the amount of economic devastation or lack of productivity that's going to come with closing down 4 cities over a virus that's only affecting 15 people. This is going to be interesting. Now, either what's going to happen is it's going to turn out that China just completely overreacted to what they are saying, and it's nothing. But I don't believe that. I mean, I can't think of any situation where China would shut down, completely quarantine. You can't leave the city. You can't go into the city. If it wasn't a bigger deal than they're making it out to me. That makes absolutely no sense. That's one of those... It's a rules for rulers thing. Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. So we do have this virus. It is spreading outside of China, and there's been a lot of unconfirmed. Like, of course, we're in a spot where everything's unconfirmed. There's there's videos of people just collapsing in China, but no one knows if they're from today or if they're from a year ago or where they are. So right now, there's just not a lot of information. I think it's the World Health Organization convened a summit. They basically took what China said and said it seems like nothing's wrong. We have a few cases outside. I don't know. What I will say is, don't watch a news channel that's going to be pushing this like Ebola 24/7 for the purposes of ratings, so that people who are already scared in this country are sitting down for 12 hours watching CNN and their abysmal ratings, trying to do anything to get people to watch that talks about something that none of us know anything about. If there's going to be a development, we will cover it, and we will cover it in 10 minutes, not over 10 hours.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's the major takeaway is, yeah, do what you can to be healthy. Let's hope that the CDC can do the work that they need to do to identify.
Good thing we took away their funding.
Yeah, good thing we're underfunded. But ultimately, it's hard to see this as being a major. I mean, we've got cases that have popped up in France, a few cases in the United States, cases in South Korea, cases in Japan. Kid is fine, everyone.
So far.
But yeah, I don't think mass hysteria is the correct response here, and news outlets that are going to push this relentlessly are no longer doing a public service.
In fact, I would argue that, at least with the information we have so far, the stress that these news agencies put on people so they can make money from the ratings is probably going to kill more people than the actual illness, at least with what we know so far. So.